All right, so this is going to be a reading for Sagittarius. And for the Sagittarius that I'm reading for today, I'm seeing that you're moving on from something and towards something else. You're showing me that it is a slow process, but you're aware of that and you're also connected to your intuition, which is always good. So that's what this reading is going to be about today. But before I continue, I just want to say thank you so much for being here and for receiving this reading. If you would like a personal reading, I do offer them at my website, ajstarot.com, which is also down below in the description box. And if this reading resonates with you, please take a moment to like and subscribe, as that helps out the channel quite a bit. So, Sagittarius, let's start with your overall energy for the reading today, which is the High Priestess. And just as I said that, I got goosebumps, which when I'm doing readings, usually one on one readings, but any reading really, and I get goosebumps, that's how I know that spirit is with me in a very real way. And so many of you may have spiritual guidance around you at this time, or you may just be, very tapped into your own intuition, your own spirituality. Let's take a look at the High Priestess. We have the Empress, the King of Cups, the Hanged Man. Interesting. This is a very powerful energy of self-love. And it's very grounding, this love, and it also connects you again to this very spiritual energy. I want to clarify that a little bit more. Okay, so I'm seeing that, wow, this is a very spiritual message. I'm seeing that you're sort of stepping into, and I don't want to say higher vibration because I don't like talking about it like, we're better than someone else or something like that. But it's like you're stepping into this energy of incredible love and presence, and it stems from self-love, and then it also radiates outwards towards other people, and it comes through with the High Priestess and the Hanged Man here, almost like a spiritual awakening, like you're sort of ascending to um, a different spiritual level, is I guess the only way that I can really put it. And there's something here about opening your heart both to yourself, to other people, to the universe, and that really placing you more in touch with yourself, and also with a higher awareness, like an awareness that maybe that things are going to be okay, an awareness of the universe, a spiritual awareness, something like that. And when I clarified, I got the Knight of Cups, the Death card, and the Five of Pentacles. And so this is interesting because it represents that when your heart opens and you connect to this frequency of love, um, it transforms you away from maybe some of the petty difficulties or trivialities of being a human on Earth. And I'm not saying that everything involved in being a human is frivolous. It's not like that, but it's more like when you go through a spiritual experience, like say a loved one dies, it really puts into perspective for you some of the things that you might have been focusing on that were not as important. Like, oh, why was I arguing with my sister? Life is short. I shouldn't argue with my sister. I should show her that I love her. It's something like that, but on an even bigger level that's more than just one death or one argument with your sister. It's like overall connecting to this energy of love and goodwill to the point where overall you're showing me I'm no longer so attached to these inconsequential things that don't matter as much as I thought they did. And for many of you, those are going to be different things because we all live different lives. But it's the same energy of like, I don't need to sweat the small stuff. I don't need to worry about the small stuff because there's a larger spiritual purpose, and that larger spiritual purpose is love. So it's a very powerful lesson that you've been learning, and it's a lesson that you're learning on a soul level. Um, and it does represent this expanding consciousness. So really, really beautiful, powerful energy. Um, and so that's kind of what the rest of this reading is going to explore. And this may not resonate with all of you, but for those of you that it does resonate, I think it will hit a particular spot with you because you've been going through this spiritual journey, which is um, very personal, very powerful, all of that. So anyway, we start off here with the King of Swords, the Knight of Pentacles, and the Six of Swords. So that's the energy of understanding and finally gaining this knowledge with the King of Swords. And then that sparks off this process where you transform and you leave certain energies behind, you move towards new energies. And it's interesting because even though it comes through as like a download where it's like, boom, I'm different now. I've seen what I've seen. I can't unsee it. I've learned what I've learned. I can't go back to the way it was. And in a spiritual sense, it's very powerful. In an energetic sense, it is definitely, like a snap of the fingers, boom. Now I have this understanding, right? It comes in like lightning. But on an earth level, in say your day-to-day life, when it comes to how things transform because of this shift within you, it's a slower process. It's not like overnight you're living in a different place with different people and you're in a different energy. It takes time for the earth energy to really align with where you are spiritually and for your life to shift in according to where you're at on an energetic level. So let's take a look at that. Let's start with the King of Swords and sort of the learning of this lesson. We have the Nine of Cups, the Judgment card, the Page of Swords. So when you start to understand on a deeper level, it helps you connect to your heart, and it also comes in as almost reassuring. Like, it feels so good to know that you can connect to this energy of love. And it sort of holds you. It provides this like safety net, even as you go through difficult things, even as you go through challenges. It's like because you have this perspective, it's very helpful to you and it cradles you on your journey. Let's look at the Six of Swords. Two of Pentacles, Four of Pentacles, the Lovers. Once you have this realization and you connect more to your heart, you connect more to your intuition, you expand your perspective, it does throw some of your relationships into question because you're like, is this working for me? Is this serving me? Is this aligned with my energy? Because if your energy shifts, then the energies around you, they may no longer align with you. And I see you really considering like, what do I do with that? Like, do I hold on to those energies? And ultimately, I see you moving forward from them, and not lightly. You really have to deliberate. But it's not even so much of a choice as it is just the natural flow of things. Because once your energy shifts into something more expansive, it's hard to have those smaller, maybe more narrow energies, with yours. It just doesn't match. Let's look at the Knight of Pentacles. the Wheel of Fortune, the Queen of Wands, the Devil. Yeah, so what all of this does is it challenges you to step into your power and seize the day, take things into your own hands, and kind of steer the path of your own life in a new way. And there might be a lot of fear around doing that, and you might feel like, well, it's not that simple. I can't just change everything in my life right away. I have certain relationships that I'm beholden to. I have certain commitments. There are expectations. It's going to be different for all of you. Some of it might be internal, like an insecurity of like I can't make the shifts that I want to make so easily because it's hard for me to do internally, and then others of you will have external pressures. Some of you will have both. But that's what kind of makes this low is there's an energy of you stepping into and embodying freedom as well. And the freedom that love creates. And that just not being so simple. And so I see with the Two of Wands having to maybe make a plan, maybe wait a little bit. Yeah, there's like a pause between when you start to shift and expand within yourself and when you start to sort of take steps to make that change in your own life. Really, really interesting reading today. I do love these, more spiritual readings that kind of talk about these bigger picture shifts. I love all the readings though, but I just really connect to these ones. Okay. In the current energy of the Seven of Cups, the Six of Pentacles, the Nine of Wands. So that is about this feeling of, okay, now what do I do? And how do I reconcile this very spiritual process that I'm going through and, my earthly life as a person? Like, there's some type of quote, like, even the most enlightened master still has to do the laundry or something. And it's kind of like that. It's like, okay, I've opened up to this love energy. It feels great. It feels powerful. I feel free. I'm going to seize the day. But also I have to like pay my rent or something like that. And so there's a bit of, I don't want to say a barrier, but it's a bit of a strain on you because you're trying to make sense of it all and you're trying to make it all work and bring this very spiritual energy into your life in a way that, not that it makes sense, but it's just, you can actually live your life that way. Let's look at the Seven of Cups. The King of Swords, the Queen of Swords, the Four of Wands. Yeah, you're trying to bring it all together. You're trying to embrace the lesson you're learning, and then you're trying to execute and make it happen and make it manifest and really bring it all together. And that is confusing, to say the least. It's about finding clarity, and not just feeling these energies, but making sense of them, translating them, integrating them, and stepping from a place of clarity rather than, oh my gosh, there's so many options available to me, which is great if there are, but it can be hard to narrow down and feel resolved, Okay, let's look at the Nine of Wands. The Ace of Swords, the Nine of Swords, the World card. So then you show me, okay, I think I know what I need to do, but it's really, really, really freaking hard. It is hard as hell. We have the Nine of Swords here, then we also have the Ten of Swords at the bottom of the deck. It is not easy to close out cycles. It's not easy to close out chapters and to be the one taking the initiative. It might not make sense to other people. It might be painful. It might feel very jarring to you. And there are some things that need to go or that need to close. Now's the right time. And you're showing me, I know I need to do it with the Ace of Swords. But with the Nine of Swords, it's like, oh my God, like, this is hard, I really feel that. I do. If you're going through that, I really feel for you. And I'm sensing some fear from you also of like, okay, like, did I get in over my head with this? Like, am I really. It's not self doubt exactly, but there is a good dose of fear and anxiety attached to making big changes. And it's funny because you do show me the clarity of it, but then you also show me, oh my God, I wish I didn't have to do that. And, some of you, that could be like you have a community that you've outgrown and you don't want to leave it, but you know that you need to move on to something else. And that's hard. That's hard to do for anyone. All right, let's look at the Six of Pentacles in the center of your reading. You have the Empress, the Page of Swords, the Ace of Pentacles. You're trying to find balance and you're trying to understand how to align with your best self. And you're showing me I have connected to self-love. I've connected to my own personal sense of power. And I'm trying to lead with that. And I do see you getting there. It's just sort of this question of, how do I do that? How do I bring everything together? How do I balance it all out? The spiritual energy, the earth energy, the clarity, and the fear. It's many different things that start to come together. And the challenge, when you start to step into love and you start to step into self-love in particular, is how to bring that into your actions in a real way. Rather than just feeling it. And so that's really the stage that I see you in right now, is just figuring out how to do all of that. All right. In the near future, we have the Temperance card, the Nine of Swords, the Ace of Pentacles. This is definitely a process, to say the least. For the Temperance card, we have the Star, the Six of Wands, the Seven of Cups. I do see you finding confidence, and as you find confidence, also finding your direction, saying, I got this, even if it's hard in the day-to-day, I know what my direction is. I know what kinds of energies I want to move towards. I know what feels good to me. And over time, you do start to kind of streamline this energy of, oh my God, I don't know what to do, into, I got this, Even if I don't know necessarily every step of the way what I'm doing, it's a feeling that I can tap into with myself, and it's like you always redirect towards that North Star. It is, a process. Like I said, it is going to take time, and along that journey, you are still going to have that Nine of Swords anxiety energy come up of like, oh my gosh, am I doing the right thing? This is hard. It's not a linear process. It's very up and down. But I do see you getting there. Let's look at the Nine of Swords. We have the Three of Cups, the Ten of Swords, the Death card. Some of these things that are closing out have to do with relationships, and ultimately I'm seeing that some of these relationships in the grand scheme of your life may not even be the most major relationships ever. Right now, they're going to feel impactful because it's what you know. But I'm seeing that it's very, very hard to let them go, and there's a lot of pain attached to letting them go. Because you care for them. These are things that speak to you. They're connections that speak to you. And that ending is very hard, not just because... And it's not that the relationship is, ending with a line in the sand, it's done. For some of you, that might be what it is. But really, it's transforming into something else, and there's no going back. And that transformation can be very difficult. It can feel like a really hard ending. It can feel like you're leaving it behind. And that's very stressful for you. But I am seeing that, if they didn't end or they didn't transform or shift now, they would at some point, just because you have to be led into the next phase of your life. Um, it's hard. It's hard. But you're gonna get through it. And also, I see something new coming in for you. Many new things. Even though right now you might be like, I have no idea what I'm even doing, or something. The energy that you're packing is very powerful, and it's setting you up to align with the right energies for you as you expand, as you step into love, as you step into your intuition. Those other energies come to meet you almost as soon as you create the space for them. Um, let's take a look at the Ace of Pentacles. The Ace of Cups, the Devil, the Nine of Cups. This is a very specific message. What it is that's coming in for you is love without the toxic element. Many of you may have experienced love or what seems like love, but there's an unhealthy aspect to it. It could be codependency, it could be dishonesty, it could be that it feels transactional or that it doesn't feel honest, that it's going to be different for everyone, but it's like you're leaving behind connection and love that is unhealthy, and you're stepping more towards a love that is really truly going to align with your own principles, your own integrity, and it has to do with that self-love, because when we love ourselves, we put forth this energy without even saying it of, I'm not going to tolerate being mistreated. I'm not going to tolerate being in the presence of something that is harmful. You're going to move forward. And as soon as you make that switch and you move towards those, energies of love that are healthier, I see things coming in for you that feel much better, feel much more aligned maybe than what you were experiencing before. So if you are in that process of letting particular relationships go, just know that in the grand scheme of things, it is for the best, and you are going to welcome in a healthier energy as you let go of those things. Let's get 3 cards of advice for you, Sagittarius, and then we'll close out the reading. The Justice card, the 8 of Swords, the 5 of Swords. You are doing the right thing. You are on the right path. Spirit's showing me that you may have massive doubts, massive anxieties of like, is this the right thing? Am I taking the right steps? Am I, engaging with my relationships in the right way? Am I handling all of this in the right way? And the message is yes, you are. You're doing the right things. You're doing the best you can. There's an element of pride of like they're proud of you for doing the right thing for yourself, even though it's hard. And just keep moving forward. Try not to get too bogged down in those energies of anxiety and fear and doubt, because they could pull you out of this path that you're on, which is ultimately a very good one. So that's what I have for you, Sagittarius. I hope this helps. I hope this resonates, and I'll see you next time.